Sahna bhavatu sahnau bhunaktu sahaviryam karvavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Kala 9, principle of the ineffable. If Brahmātman is ineffable, then how can attributes such as sat-chit-ānanda be used to describe it? Brahmātman has many vidheya and nishedhya attributes. Vidheya attributes like sat, chit, etc. negate prapancha, and thus they are all that is left behind, and through lakshana they enable direct knowledge of the Brahm. Nishedhya attributes like ananta, akhanda, etc. directly negate the reality of prapancha, and thus unequivocally proves the singular existence of the Brahmātman. In this manner, the Brahm, being ineffable, cannot be described through any specific attributes. As we have already seen in earlier chapter, that there are two types to speak about actually anything. One can be vidheya and another can be of nishedhya. When we negate something, the remainder left is the description of the object, and when we do the inclusive attributes description, then that is called the vidheya. So for every word, there's this word came lakshana. Lakshana means, like you can say, the points which describe about anything. The points, or we can say the hints which are describing a thing. Like which an animal can be called a cow. A cow, like we can say that there are four legs, one tail, two horns, long mouth, eats grass, can be white, brown, or black. From her udders, the milk comes out. These will be called which description? Vidheya or nishedhya? Vidheya. And if we say the animal which doesn't has fangs, which doesn't eat meat, which doesn't hunt, which doesn't eat animals, what animal is this? Is not big in size and is not of orange or pink color. What animal is this?
Rabbit.
How can cow? I said it's not big in size. Yeah, when I said right, goat. obviously I am talking about cow, so I am going to describe in two ways. From where will rabbit come in? So every lakshana is, we can call it, which has one is a vachyarth and another is the lakshyarth. Vachyarth is the literal meaning of that. And lakshyarth is, which is the implied meaning of what is being said. There are two different ways. So when the literal meanings are taken, that's called vachya. Vachya as such is vachan. Vachan is a sentence. So that which is being said in a sentence and has a literal meaning is called vachya meaning or vachya artha. And the lakshya artha, lakshya means what's the target? Like what's the target? Let's say there's a father sitting with 3 children and the father is saying that the floor has to be broomed and there is nobody here who will do the brooming. There are 3 children sitting. So he's not directly saying that go and do the brooming. So his implication is that somebody should get the message and go clean the floor. And the vachyarth would be when he takes the name of the child and says, you get up and do the cleaning of the floor. So many times the gurus have to speak in the way of the lakshana only, not literally literal. And most of the chelas are, senseless. They hardly get it. So then that makes it very difficult sometimes. Because that's in a way your test which is happening. And the truth is this, that you don't even know how many times you have already been tested by me. That will be very insulting if I tell the names of the people who have failed. But actually you should be asking this. Because many people think that just by the virtue of being here, because they decided to be here, now they are okay, that's why they are here. As if they have passed all the tests to be here, as if it was never needed on their part, as if they have done some kind of obligation to me by coming here. And there are many who think like that they are indispensable and they are very perfect. But I think so every disciple should ask the Guru, have I been accepted or not? Or have I failed you in the testing which happened? Because it's not like a school exam test where you will prepare and attempt and then the checkings will happen. The checking is happening every moment. So lakshyarth is a meaning which is the implied, and the vachyarth is a literal meaning of that word. Now, it's just getting one time Swami Dayanand did some blunder. He actually was lifting a very hot utensil which had water in it, boiling water, for his guru's bath. And accidentally he spills that water right onto the guru's feet. His guru was a blind person who had a stick which he used to help take support while walking. So Guru already had the stick and this water fell on Guru's feet. So Guru started giving a good beating to Dayanand, that am I blind or you are blind? How careless of you. And then he was beaten up. And while Guru was beating, Dayanand could have easily run here or there. The Guru can't see. But he stayed there, took all the beating. And at one point, the staff fell off Guru's hand. So Dayanand went and he picked up that staff and gave it back to his Guru so that he can beat. Now, these are not things which, you get a manual where you can read that this is how you should do. And Dayanand had no reference ever in any scripture to go back to, and okay, I get my tutorial from here that how I need to behave. But Dayanand's love and surrender for his master was so complete that Guru actually later on asked, when he cooled down, that you could have chosen not to give me the stick back. Why did you give it back? He said, Gurudev, you are beating me. So in a way, your all energies are coming through this stick to me. And secondly, I am so happy that you feel that I am that surrender to you, that you can beat me up. That you can beat me up. And that's my victory today. And moreover, the Shastra says that when Guru is hard onto a disciple, that actually is like a fire. So this fire will definitely burn out my all sins and my mind will be more purer. So in a way, you are still giving me your compassion and mercy. And with your grace, I am not a fool that I would deny myself from what you are offering to me, what you are giving to me. So the implications are different things, and the Vachya Arth is said a different thing. Okay, so nishedhya attributes, where we are saying that this doesn't exist, and it is also negating the reality of the prapancha. Two things are being done. So this unequivocally represents the exact form of the formless. So when we say the Brahmātman cannot be explained, see in this one word, actually we are taking two words, Brahma plus Atman, so one word, Brahmātman. So although the Brahmātman cannot be spoken through the speech, and yet all the four Vedas are talking about that Brahmātman. So it might seem very contradictory that how you said it can't be expressed and here you are expressing. And in thousands of verses you are expressing it. So it doesn't make sense, but it does. Because either Paramatma, Brahmātman, is being spoken through a vidheya or through the nishedhya lakshana. Lakshana again is the, like when we say, how does a water look? Then we can say the one which is liquid, the one which is clear, the one which is sweet, right? That is called water. So if you say, what's ice? That which is gross, that which is compact, that which is cold in nature is ice. Now these attributes are the lakshana. Now in the nishedhya it would be like if we say, what is ice? But if I have to say in a nishedhya lakshana, then I would say that which is not fluid, that which is not normal temperature, that, so we are saying what it's not. And in vidheya we are saying that what it is. So when we do the nishedhya attributes, we are bringing out all the akaratmak words like ananta, akhanda, asanga, ananda, abhedya, avedya, avyaya, likewise. In this manner, the Brahm being ineffable cannot be described through any specific attributes. Now, it cannot be spoken and yet it is being spoken. Can't be said and yet it is being said. Buddha, in a way, stopped much before this whole thing, and he said, because it can't be said, hence it doesn't exist. Because it can't be perceived with mind and intellect, hence there is nothing called God. Now that's why I say that Vedanta moves one step ahead of Buddha. Now I am not saying that Buddha was not a realized person. I am definitely not saying that he in this term called enlightened, that he was not enlightened. Buddha was a Buddha, he was a great individual, but in every space and time, the master needs to evaluate certain things and have to speak in certain way, and they have to sometimes to make people understand, they have to say that whatever has been up till now said and written, just leave it and now listen to me. And he was all against this ritualistic sacrifices being done of animals and people fighting, and that empty religious rituals, wherever it were, he condemned everything. And he said there is no Atma and there is no Paramatma. He had to say it. Why? Because people were not going into the depth of what Atma is or isn't. They just took the words of Veda and started repeating. In every time, there are people who think that, well, they have the copyright of all the Vedas and the knowledge. And these days, even these days, they are ready to speak up and say that so-and-so speaker should not speak this, should not speak that, should not sing, should not do music. And all these instructions are coming from fools who think that they are the authority, but they are not. So in the Buddha time, I am very sure that the environment was such that knowledge got too, I would say, limitedly available to people, and the decimation of the truth must not have been happening the way it should. But when Buddha says there is no Atma and there is no Paramatma and there is only Shunya, in my understanding, it is what many Buddhists feel it is negation. I see it not as a total negation, but I would say that's a nishedhya way of addressing the Brahman. So it's a nishedhya way to say it's a Shunya. Like we are here saying, Brahmātman cannot be spoken through words, ineffable. So what's the difference? If you say Shunya or if you say ineffable, Buddha is considered by the Hindu scriptures as one of the Vishnu's incarnation. And Buddha is accepted as an incarnation of Vishnu. And yet the followers they have been so ill-informed, and it's strange, whether it's Anapanasati or whether it is Vipassana, and all the methodologies of the Buddhist are actually rooted in the Hindu scriptures. So it's all borrowed from there. That's why I don't see any difference. I know some of the very Vedanti Swamis, they had a very firm kind of reservations about over here, how come you have some Buddha hall? And there was this Buddha's, and I said, why not? Because at one time Shankaracharya, and he brought the Vedic glory back, he brought the Upanishadic glory back, and he made 4 centers in Bharat, in this country, where with one Mahavakya each given to these 4 mathas, the religious study, the scriptural study of Vedanta and Sanskrit is done, and everybody is trained and prepared and they understand. It's just a bogus thing to say that I am a Hindu and yet you don't know what your Upanishads are. Now, to know your Upanishads, you need to understand the language. And in the Buddha time, the language which was used was a regional language called Pali, not Sanskrit. So if you have been brought up in a Pali language, how would you understand what's there in the Vedas? Because that's in a Sanskrit language. So there is a big gap in getting the right knowledge. So Shankaracharya, in his lifespan, his major work was actually to have debates and discussions, and that's how he brought back many Buddhists into the Vedic fold, and he established these mathas, and he established these 10 akhada, the 10 sannyas ashrams were also established, that now in every town there should be a Mandaleshwar. In every zone there would be a Mahamandaleshwar whose duty and job is to decimate the Vedic knowledge. That ineffable Brahm has been spoken through vidheya and through nishedhya. Question: how do the vidheya attributes like sat, etc., negate the reality of prapancha and enlighten the existence of Brahm? Answer: by referring to an entity as sat, asat is negated. Hence what is left is the absolute reality whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as chit, ever-knowing existence, the jada is negated. Hence what is left is chitta, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as ananda, pure bliss, sorrow is negated. Hence what is left is absolute bliss, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as Brahm, limitless, the limited is denied. Hence what is left is the all-pervasive, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as swayam prakasha, self-illuminating, the unilluminated, dependent on the other for illumination, is negated. Hence what is left is the self-illuminating, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as kutastha, avikari, firmly immutable, the mutable is negated. Hence what is left is the never-changing, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as sakshi, the witness, the witnessed is negated. Hence what is left is the witness, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as drashta, they're all similar names coming back, all adjectives coming back, and every word has been already explained what it is. Hence what is left is the seer, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as upadrashta, passive seer, the passive seen in close proximity is negated. Hence what is left is the passive seer, whose existence is proved through lakshana. By referring to an entity as eka, multiple is negated. Hence what is left is the absolute one, whose existence is proved through lakshana. The same logic applies to the vidheya attributes as well. They have now why the vidheya attributes are not being discussed? Because they are very well evidently clear. So there is no need to bring that. The nishedhya were something which needed the attention, as not only we are learning about what Brahman is, but with that we are also addressing the prapancha, which is inert, which is the seen, which is dependent on illumination, which is jada. So we are actually achieving two things in one way of nishedhya descriptions. So again coming back to Buddha's description, I would say, was a nishedhya. So he's not saying Atma exists, Paramatma exists, he says Shunya. He said nothing exists. And most of our Vedantis say that, okay, who knew that the Shunya exists? That's one question. Is there somebody who saw this? And if that, then who was that? Well, that's Brahm. So they use their logic to prove the Vedanta. Question: how do nishedhya attributes like ananta negate the reality of prapancha? The term ananta, endless, negates that which is limited by space, time, form. Why is the objective world or prapancha? Ananta itself literally refers to the limitless, endless Brahman, the same logic applies to the other nishedhya attributes as well. Question: what is the purpose of deriving the meaning of these attributes in this manner? The objective behind deriving the meaning of these attributes in this manner is that Chaitanya, the ever-knowing absolute existence, cannot be an object which can be known by the mind or verbalized by the tongue. This truism stated by the Shruti is not contradicted. Moreover, it validates the fact stated by the Shruti that Parabrahm is ineffable. Guna, Kriya, Jati. Repeat this.
Guna, Kriya, Jati.
And Sambandh. Now say all the four.
Guna, Kriya, Jati, Sambandh.
Now, such is the innate nature and tendency of the mind, along with their description through words, do not abide in Brahm. Now, any object, when we say, will have one guna, some qualities, will have some activity, will have a particular jati, means the species, some species, and then these will have some intra-relations with like other species and the other attributes. Now that is a very innate nature of this prapancha. And our tendency of the mind is that we can relate only to a thing which has guna, kriya, jati and sambandh. Now that's how our mind can relate to anything. Now when we say Brahm, so obviously we'll have to talk about all these four aspects. Now, as Brahm does not perform any actions, it is devoid of any special attributes. That is why even the Shruti refers to Brahm as the entity beyond the objectification of mind and speech. That is, Brahm is transcendental. It is beyond the comprehension of mind and beyond the narration of speech. Now see, if you just read it on your own, you will go bonkers. That here they are saying Brahm cannot be explained through speech. Then what is this? And Guru is not doing a mooka, a silent communication. Guru too is speaking. So four Vedas and the Guru Granth Sahib and all the works of various masters, if we just compile it all together, that will become a huge library. And there would be millions of words in all those books. And yet the truth remains same, that the Brahm is not to be comprehended by mind and by any narration of speech. All that is expressed through words is ensued through Dvaita and not Advaita. Thus, by deriving the meaning of these attributes in this manner, the concept of duality, which is inherently contrary to the Vedic wisdom of Shruti, is not validated. However, Advaita cannot be simply comprehended by the same. It's tough, it's tricky. Can't be comprehended, but how will you otherwise understand? So Guru is still using the speech and words and language and the gestures. But then there is a nishedhya and then there is this vidheya descriptions which are going on. But again, what your mind knows is not Brahm, and what your senses can know will not be Brahm.